Violence is socially manufactured. It happens because guns and weapons are made readily available to people in that society. It is manufactured because it is a response to something. It's a response to maybe the anger that you feel, the worry that you have, the tension that you feel, the unhappiness that you feel, propels people to carry out violent actions. Just like when we feel good about ourselves and about our lives, then we do good things. We treat people well. We do things that would make our life even better and the lives of others even better when you're actually happy. So, yes, there are people in the world who are hateful, who are evil, who really do find some joy and contentment with harming other people and just being a bad person. But I do believe that when it comes to violence, when it comes to murder, these are things that are generated from culture, from the society that you live in. I live in a town in which gun violence is just getting completely out of control. And of course, gun violence in the US is nothing new. It's been a problem for a very long time. Every month, just about, there's some mass shooting somewhere. And so, we should expect that unfortunately these things will probably happen in our local communities as well. But in my town in particular, it's kind of reaching an escalation point. Just maybe 2 weeks ago, our college had to shut down. They went on full lockdown for several hours because there was a shooting across the street. And then just this weekend, there was a shooting at the mall in our town. And in both of those cases, teenagers were involved. A teenager was killed in this mall shooting recently. And unfortunately, I don't think that that's the end of it. I think that there's going to continue to be more stories about these kinds of things happening. The schools already have metal detectors and police officers, and it's just, it's really disturbing. And it's something that a lot of us feel living here in the US, feel very unsafe and feel like this is a very volatile society because it is. But as a sociologist, I understand that there is a historical and social context to this. I understand that we have a government that's violent, that's constantly engaging in wars and conflicts and aggressions against other countries. I understand that the experiences of Black people, of African people in this country has been violent. The experience of Native and Indigenous people in this country has been violence. It is a part of the culture of US society. Gun violence is a part of that culture. And when you add to that the availability of guns, being able to buy them at Walmart, and there's so many circulating now per household. There's like insane numbers of gun ownership per household in the US. I don't know exactly what those figures are right now. I don't care. You can look it up, but it's true. um, when you measure the violence of the societal structure and the power structures in society with the availability of guns, then this is what you get. You get this extremely violent, chaotic society. And there's so many guns available and that have been bought, just hundreds or millions of them probably, that even if you can't get the license or you can't figure out some way to buy a gun, then you probably know someone that has some, because there's just so many. So I don't know. I'm just kind of reflecting on this today, having children that are in public schools, working in a public educational setting myself. Even if it was private, it wouldn't really matter. But just having, children that are involved in these structures in which I'm not present, and me as well, just having to navigate, my work environment as well. There's just so many things that you could be worried about from day to day. You can just kind of be under constant stress and worry about the potential for something happening. And I'm not going to let myself get to that point because I've understood this for a really long time. I've studied these things. I understand why this is happening. And so I'm going to do, things to make sure that I stay grounded and, of course, that I stay safe and that my family stays safe. But I can't ignore, what's happening and the ways that this is just increasing and becoming more frequent in local communities, is what I'm referring to because it's been going on in the larger society for some time now. There was a talk that the president of Colombia gave. It was a speech that he gave at the United Nations. This was maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. He's given a couple, and they're all really really good. But in this one that I'm thinking about, I had my class actually read that, and we discussed it as a class because it talked about the violence of the US, how frequent it is, and how unhappy people must be in this country because of, that shows up in the drug use rates, overdose rates, suicide rates, and all these things that are also extremely high in the US. And in the speech, he called out those things and he said, this is what you should be focusing on. People are clearly unhappy and unhealthy. And that is, I believe, what's at the core of all of this gun violence in particular, and violence in general, domestic violence as well. People are unhappy, they're unsatisfied, they are lacking, they are competing, with these images of these illusions of grandeur from celebrity lifestyle and influencer lifestyles that we see online. And they're trying to achieve these things that are unattainable for most people. And when they fall short, then they just think that they're a failure. There's a concept in the study of deviance in sociology called structural strain. And it refers to the ways that violence and deviance increases, or the propensity for it increases, when people feel like they don't have what everyone else has, like there's that strain. And so what happens is people figure out ways to get those things. If I can't afford it, if I can't buy it, then I'm going to steal it. I'm going to take it from someone, or I'm going to take it from some place. And the same goes with human bodies, even when you think about the crises of rape in US society. It's people feeling like they're entitled to other people's bodies, to women's bodies in particular. If I can't get it, then I'll just take it. It's cultural. And again, it goes back to the establishment of the US itself, taking the land of Native people, stealing it, stealing African land, stealing resources, stealing people. What can you expect from members of a society if this is the nature of the society itself? And this is something that Tupac Shakur, has, said before, that I'm a product of my society. And we're all products of our society. And this isn't to remove individual or personal responsibility, obviously. But we have to understand that there's always structural influences, structural strains, external forces that are constantly shaping our lives, shaping our decisions, shaping our opportunities, shaping the ways that we move in the world. It's not isolated within ourselves. We are beholden to the larger societal structure in one way or another, and increasingly more in modern life. There's no way around it. Even people that have lots of money, who are financially well off, people who've achieved those landmark goals of society, getting married, buying a nice house, having children, getting a good job, they've crossed off all of those boxes and they're still unhappy. Many of them are violent. Many of them do horrendous things. So we know that that's not enough, that money doesn't buy happiness, that a great relationship doesn't buy personal happiness. It doesn't afford you that. It can add value and more joy and happiness to your life, but you individually, internally, mentally, physiologically have to be content and happy, because nothing is going to magically instill that into people. It has to be within you. And how can it be within you if you're constantly absorbing negativity, violence, theft, aggression, which is everyday life in the US? So this is where we are, and this is where we've been for a while, and where we're probably going to be for a while. And I know other countries have their own issues, and other countries are also dealing with the impact of the of aggression and violence of the US and the Western world, that in which is happening now, and that what's happened before, what's happened historically. And you see in some of these countries around the world that used to never have instances of violence and shootings, and these things are starting to happen there too, because US culture transmits all over the world. It's not just the peace sign and the baseball caps and the American Eagle shirts that transfer across societies. It's also attitudes and beliefs and behaviors that culturally transmit. And the US is probably still one of the biggest cultural transmitters in the world as far as countries. Not because it's just so great, but because of the power and visibility and influence that the US has historically had. So people have also picked up on our violent behaviors, just like they've picked up on the baseball caps. So I just encourage everyone to be mindful and to understand the context in which we're living, not just the present, but also the historical context. And, you know, we put so much weight on ourselves and try to hold so much ourselves as individuals, and we blame ourselves a lot. And we should never neglect reflecting, upon our behaviors and the way that we navigate the world. But I want you to understand that you are beholden to a social system. You have been influenced and shaped by that social system, and it continues every single day. Your emotions are socially constructed. Your responses are socially constructed. Yeah, the ability to cry and shed tears is biological, is hereditary, is genetic, is human. But when you do it, where you do it, around who you do it, there are very prescribed norms and behaviors connected to that. It's even connected to gender, where women are allowed to be more emotionally expressive than men, which is a major issue for men in so many ways, causes all kinds of health issues and violence and all sorts of things with men because of the way that they're taught to hold in their emotions and their feelings. But generally, it's something that's not really welcome in most of our social structures. In these formal settings, such as work, in which most of us spend most of the hours of our days at work or working, we're told to, in those environments, you keep it together, emotional labor, you regulate your feelings. There's no outbursts allowed. You just, everything is okay. How you doing? Okay, I'm fine. How you doing? I'm great. Knowing that you're not. So there's so many ways that we have to confine the way that we feel. And sometimes when you hold things in for so long, it just explodes. And one of the ways that those explosions manifest is through violent actions. This is what we're seeing, you all. This is what it is. So it's not just a personal flaw, it's a social flaw. It's a sick society that needs a lot of healing. And we can just try to be the lights and try to have some hope and try to be better people. That's all that we can do. Try to be a person that can influence something better, some sort of change for the better in whatever way that we can do it. Whether that's joining an organization fighting for justice, or writing letters, or just working on yourself, dealing with your own trauma and inner child wounds, making it your purpose every single day just to be kind and be good and be decent, whatever it might be. Do something. Don't just wallow, because it's really easy to just go to bed and put the cover over your head and just tune it all out and just check out of the whole situation. But that doesn't solve the problem. So thank you for listening to this discussion, and just, kind of some things I need to get off my chest today. And this is Class with Prof. Eve, where we connect elements of sociology and sociological insight to everyday life. And I'll see you in my next video.